Hello and welcome to the practical of transpiration. Today we will work with these plants over here, these maize or corn plants. I think you all know the principle that there's 4 different treatments, so combinations of drought and mycorrhiza treatments. I think by now, after a couple of weeks of growth, the difference is very clear. What we will do today is compare transpiration, so the loss of water among these 4 treatments. But we will do that in 2 ways. And well, first maybe I should introduce you to the process of transpiration. Transpiration is the loss of water from ecosystems, or in this case, from plants. And well, from plants in general. I should not say of ecosystems, because then I would be talking about evapotranspiration. And so plants, of course, they need water, and they lose it through their stomata, so that's pores, which you can mainly find in the leaves. And that's what we're going to determine today. Now, we will compare that between the treatments, but we'll do that in 2 ways. And the first way will be very easy. So you have these pots over here. And over time, during the practical, which takes a couple of hours, the plants will lose weight. And that's because the plants and the pots will lose weight. And that's because water is being lost in the meanwhile. And so you can measure that with a scale. So then normally you will find a more or less linear curve, which will over the hours go down. And based on that, you know how much water, how many grams of water was lost per hour, for example. So you're going to get an idea of the transpiration, which you can, by the way, express for the full plant, but also per unit leaf area. We'll come back to that later. So that's the first way, so the scale. The other way is by using so-called porometers. Porometers are devices which allow us to determine the stomatal conductance. And this means you will do measurements really at a leaf level. So here is one, and over there is an older one. We'll have a closer look at them and how they work later on. But they do measurements at the leaf level. And this is measurements at the level of a whole plant. And we want to link the two. So of course, if you want to link these two, there is more information that is still missing, and that is the leaf area. So to link this and that, we will need the leaf area of single leaves and eventually of the whole plant. And that's one of your tasks you have to do to calculate that. All right. Now what you also maybe already noticed was that here, this plant here, I added a foil, and actually in the practical, normally I will now, for this demonstration, just work with this plant today. But normally you should add foil to all those plants or to the pots. Why? Of course, because we're just only interested in transpiration and not in evaporation. And evaporation, that's simply the loss, the evaporation, of water from a water surface or from the soil. But that's not what we want to know. So we want to block the loss of water from here, from the soil, and only measure the loss, so with the scale, only measure the loss through the plant. So that's exactly the reason why we'll do that in that way.